Hello, welcome to my presentation on nurse bullying. This is for Nurse 447, Issues and Trends Facing Healthcare. I want to introduce this topic, why it's important to me personally, and why it's also a significant issue in our country, and I'm sure in other parts of the world as well. So this issue is personal to me because I got my LPN in 2018 and just recently got my RN this last May. I started working in the residency program at Hayes Medical Center, and I have personally dealt with quite a bit of bullying in my workplace, not just on my unit, but different units I've floated to. So I think it's a really important issue that needs addressed, which is why I picked the topic. It's also known, nurse bullying is also known as horizontal violence, lateral violence, incivility, and workplace bullying. Those are just kind of the similar terms that might get thrown around. Like I said, I've dealt with this issue personally from physicians, patients actually, their family members, and other nursing coworkers. As far as nationally, the ANA in 2001 performed a study, and it was known that 54% of nurses would not recommend nursing as a profession, and 25% actively discourage someone from entering the profession. Of course, we know that there are many ups and downs of nursing. Staffing's always an issue, heavy workloads. We might have some overtime, especially ones we saw with COVID. There are other issues like that, but I think bullying is starting to play a more important role as well. Another article I read stated that approximately 60% of new nurses leave their first place of employment within the first 6 months because of lateral violence that is perpetrated in the workplace. I wanted to include this statistic that I found from the Journal of Healthcare Management. Is greater than 50% this is the amount of nurses who experienced horizontal bullying according to several studies. I think it's interesting that this percentage is probably significantly higher just because of underreporting. It's hard to measure as well because of the lack of understanding as to what defines bullying, and some victims of bullying might wish to keep their struggles a secret. So I think it's very interesting that this statistic could be even greater than 50%. The ANA defines bullying as the repeated, unwanted, harmful actions intended to humiliate and cause distress in the recipient. There are different types of bullying. There's social, cyber, and workplace bullying. Some examples of social bullying are gossiping, leaving people out, spreading rumors. Cyberbullying is any type of bullying that is just over the internet or social media, and workplace bullying kind of falls into the category that we're discussing right now. Some behaviors or actions that someone might experience that are considered bullying actions are criticizing, blaming, humiliating, ignoring, name-calling, threatening, isolating, these types of actions. I have most often myself witnessed like the eye rolling, different physical expressions, and it's really belittling, and it can be really awkward and kind of hard to deal with. So I think it's really important that us as nurses, we kind of know how to stand up for ourselves and be respectful and professional and deal with this issue appropriately. I know this is not a new issue. We've all heard the term nurses eating their young, and this is basically the essence of what I'm discussing today. This expression is not new. It's been talked about for years and years. The ANA put out a position statement, which is Incivility, bullying, and workplace violence professes a zero tolerance policy on violence of any kind. All RNs and employers in all settings, including practice, academia, and research, must collaborate to create a culture of respect that is free of incivility, bullying, and workplace violence. Evidence-based practice must be implemented to prevent and mitigate incivility, bullying, and workplace violence to promote the health, safety, and wellness of RNs and to ensure optimal outcomes across the healthcare continuum. It's important to know some of the causes of nurse bullying. So the few that I did find were related to a nurse that maybe was bullied in the past and they're training a new nurse and they're bullying the new nurse because that's what they were used to being treated like. Some senior nurses thinking that they have seniority over new nurses who are less experienced. There are differences in education, so some people that maybe have BSNs and other nurses that have ADNs. The people that maybe have their BSN or MSN or something like that, they think that they're better than an associate degree nurse, and these are just some of the various reasons why this issue happens. Some of the effects of nurse bullying, there's not only physical, but there's financial effects as well. Some of the physical are more related to headaches, stress, excessive worry, sleeping problems, depression, fatigue, powerlessness, and even there were some suicidal behaviors reported in some of the studies that I read. As far as financial effects, there was a study that I read that reflected $30,000 to $100,000 per year for each individual, and this is a reflection of not showing up to work, treatment for anxiety and depression, decreased work performance, and an increased turnover rate at various facilities. There's also the cost of workplace violence is estimated $4.2 billion annually in another journal article that I read. So what are some of the solutions to this issue? As leaders and mentors, demonstrating trusting behaviors is going to be a huge one because it's really difficult if you feel like you're struggling with this issue and you can't go to your supervisor about it. Our supervisors and mentors also need to hold themselves accountable for showing professional and appropriate behavior in the workplace. Us as nurses in general, we need to figure out what are the risk factors of being bullied. For me, it would be a new nurse, so I know that I am at a high risk of being bullied. So it would be good for me to learn how to confront someone that is disrespecting me and me being involved in further education on how to deal with being bullied, the steps that should be taken if it does occur, and also how to not become a bully. I don't want to spread the cycle. The ANA does have a hashtag for end nurse abuse, which I found that was really interesting for like an awareness campaign. There's also bullying policies at different institutions, being able to encourage safe reporting to your management, and if you needed to, on your own personal time, to seek support and counseling. So to summarize, unfortunately, this is an increasing problem in the nursing profession. The effects are worth noting. It does have a major effect on nurses, patients, and entire healthcare organizations, and ultimately everyone's responsible for creating a positive workplace culture. The big takeaway is to be a role model and not a bully. We want to end the cycle, and I think this is just a really important topic that doesn't get talked about a whole lot. So thank you for listening, and I hope this was beneficial for you. Thank you.